Hey there, it's Leona. Welcome to Zen Mindfulness Shodo. Today, we're gonna practice Shodo meditation while focusing on the Hiragana character for mo. So, let's begin our beautiful journey together. When you write a character, imagine a square about the size of the character that you are gonna write like this. First, I'm gonna write it. Then I'm gonna explain the points and tips for writing the character beautifully in detail. Let's explain the process. The first stroke starts from a point a little bit higher than the middle of the upper half of the middle vertical line. This line is curving to the left. It curves downward to the left, with the leftmost bulge occurring around where it passes the middle horizontal line. From there, it descends to the bottom right. It passes the middle vertical line at a height at which the space above the starting point and the space below the lowest point of the first stroke appear almost the same size. Turns back at the middle vertical line, and then curves up to the top right, mirroring the left side of the curve. Finally, it gradually thins out as it sweeps upward in the direction of the starting point of the second stroke. The direction of the harai, which means sweeping stroke, is made in a way that appears to lead into the starting point of the next stroke, which is the second stroke. The turning point at the bottom should neither be too sharp like this, which would make it look pointed, nor too round like this, which would make it look like a rounded character called marumoji in Japanese. A moderate curve here best expresses the characteristic curves of hiragana and looks mature and neat. Some people might write this character like the hiragana character si with two added horizontal lines. But si and mo are two different characters. To clearly express this difference, it's better not to write the first stroke exactly like si. However, this isn't necessarily wrong, and it would still be readable as mo. So ultimately, you can write it in the style you prefer. For the end point of the first stroke, bring the pen to the upper left where the second stroke begins. Draw a line curving slightly downward, intersecting the vertical part of the first stroke at about a 90-degree angle. And continue to the right until the vertical part of the first stroke is in the middle of the stroke. Since this vertical part of the first stroke is slanted, don't make the second stroke parallel to the middle horizontal line, but gradually go downward to the right while curving down. This will create about a 90-degree angle intersection. Start this line with light pen pressure, gradually increasing it as you move to the bottom right to make it thicker. Since the end point of the first stroke is thin, you can express a natural continuation of stroke by creating the beginning point of the second stroke thinner as well. From the end point of the second stroke, move your pen downward to the left with this motion. The third stroke starts slightly to the left of the starting point of the second stroke. Like the second stroke, draw a line curving downward, intersecting the vertical part of the first stroke at about a 90-degree angle as you move to the right. The vertical part should be roughly in the middle, so try to make the left and right sides about the same length, or with the right side slightly longer than the left, for a good balance. Also, try to make the part of the first stroke above the second stroke, and the part below the third stroke appear about the same length. This creates a well-balanced and neat overall appearance. For example, if written like these, in the example above, the part of the first stroke above the second stroke looks shorter than the part below the third stroke. On the other hand, in the example below, the space below the third stroke appears shorter than the space above the second stroke. It also looks like the space between the second and third stroke, bigger than the space below the third stroke. To avoid an unbalanced appearance, try to keep these three spaces roughly equal. Why not try practicing with these points and tips in mind? The key points for writing hiragana characters, as explained in the video, are concisely summarized in this book in a similar manner. The book allows you 3 pages to practice each character. It can be purchased on Amazon. See the link in the description. I'm gonna practice 1 page of this workbook this time, but you're welcome to practice as much as you want. If you're practicing with a pen, I recommend that you place a few pieces of paper under the page that you're writing on, so that the ink doesn't bleed onto the page under it. Alright, let's get started.